Hi everyone, I'm Elisactis, the president of GEA Society ECP. Here we are with the second episode of How Matter Our Planet, the IGTV series in which we talk about sustainability. As many of you might already know, since day one we've always themed our content after a monthly theme, and for this month we address sustainable fashion. Today I'm here with Greta, the vice president of GEA Society ECP, and we're sitting down with Alessandro Lovisetto, the CEO and co-founder of Artknit Studios. Now, without further ado, I will pass on the mic to Alessandro, who will give us some insights about his background and will talk about his company.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Greta, for inviting me. So I'm actually an alumni of ECP Europe. I launched in 18 months ago, so it's a very, very short story at the beginning, but I just try to make a quick background to also give you more information about myself. So during my university studies, I tried to collect as much experience as possible because I already had in mind to launch my own let's say startup at the very beginning. So that's why I tried to collect to have like an heterogeneous background from the beginning. I started in a family office in New York in US just straight after my first level of university degree, and then since then I really understood an interest in the investment side and also in more an operational point of view. So I tried to during the pre-master of ECP, I tried to join Rocket Internet in Berlin, and then I worked for like a startup in the Southeast Asia, dedicated in the food tech sector. So since then, already trying to understand as much as possible like the operational side of a startup, and also how to organize it in a very effective way all the process. And then the experience after Rocket Internet was in Dublin in the Google headquarters, where I tried to learn as much as possible topic related to the digital marketing activities, working with Italian medium-sized companies. So trying to work with them the digital transformation and some digital activities to implement from scratch. And afterwards, I decided, okay, now we need to be really effective, and I was trying to understand which kind of capabilities and knowledge I was missing from the beginning, and so I tried to dedicate my last years in the finance let's say industry, working before Standard & Poor's, and then I went in M&A investment banking for a French bank, and then in London for another advisory firm, Greenhill, in London for 1.5 years. At that point, I was realizing that I was definitely reach all my, let's say, interest in the industry, and I want to go back to my real passion, my real, let's say, inspiration from the beginning, which was launching my own venture. And then suddenly I decided to quit my job, to go back to Italy, especially in my hometown, which is Biella, which is known to be famous for wool, cashmere, and raw material. And in that moment, I didn't really have which kind of business model I could launch, but I just tried to be let's say as much let's say smart and quick as possible, and I saw an opportunity in the digital space. So I tried to connect the best asset of our region, which is the raw material of wool and cashmere, and leverage also on made in Italy workshops. So so all the artisans that now are suffering due to the globalization, that probably in the past they worked for very important luxury clients in Europe, and now they're kind of struggling. So I tried to connect all the dots, and then Artknit Studios came up. And so the idea was to create a startup dedicated to the digital space, so a digital brand 100% that was connecting the luxury quality of Biella, the artisan workshop of Italy, and make it in a more innovative and sustainable way. And then, of course, beginning, I didn't really have a clear path or direction where to go, but day by day, we've been accelerated by a fashion technology accelerator at the very beginning in Milan for the first 6 months. And from there, we start building the real strategy of Artknit. So it was really like a path that was not very, like, let's say, very clear since the beginning. I just tried to put together the market opportunity, and then everything came in the second stage. So I hope I also probably reply to your following questions.
Yeah, you did. So as you said, sustainability is very important for you and for your company. How does it apply to your business model?
Yeah. So definitely we have two main pillars that dedicated to sustainability. One is social, and one is more environmentally related. The social one is already, like mentioned before, is the fact that we are very focusing on artisanal workshops. So we are skipping all the industrialization effect that is mainly one of the biggest problem in the fashion industry. So we've really strong attention to select the right workshop. We work with in Italy, and they are dedicating really the same vision, the same passion we have towards sustainability. And this is more the social side. But the most important side is the environmental focus, which is then divided again in other three subsection. Which is the first one is the real focus on materials. So we only work with materials that are natural and eco-friendly. So the second step is the process. So basically the fact that we trying to build like an on-demand production. We want to skip all the we want to remove all the inventory waste that traditional brands are producing during the year. So we're trying to design product that they don't have any collection. They're not collection related, so they would try to be like a product that could last for life. So there is no lot of also need to change this product very quickly, and the fact that during the production we just produce if the order is placed. So, and this is of course there is a big impact also in the production phase. The last option, the last, let's say, section is the logistic importance. So since we don't have an intermediary and we try to ship from the factory to the final client, if you compare, for example, another traditional brand which has like showroom, agency, stores, wholesale distribution, you just can imagine the logistic impact of this distribution. And basically, we try to calculate in a very transparent way, but we kind of can assume that 95% of the emission that are produced by traditional brands are basically for us are cut through this model. So this is the third and last focus that we are focusing on in this sustainable strategy we're building on.
So linking to this motto of your brand, so buy less, buy better, how do you think that people can transition into adopting this motto, which is really, I think, at the core of sustainable fashion? Because, we are bombarded with fast fashion brands every day, and it's really hard to make this transition to a more sustainable living and a more sustainable fashion. So how do you think that people can be persuaded into adopting this motto?
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is not something that you're gonna wake up one day and then, okay, I will try, because this is not just to fashion, but this is in general. You can adapt to every single product category you can find in the nature. The fact here that is a like psychological process that you should stop buying compulsively and asking maybe 3 or 5 times if you really need it, and taking decisions that are conscious driven. So basically what we also, one of our mission is to be transparent all over the supply chain. And this is what we don't want to do that because it's cool now to be transparent, but because we want to give the information the customer needs to make conscious decisions. So if I know that this product has this characteristic, they have specific materials, the specific composition, and then they can compare very in a very good manner compared to other product price or other product offers. So, and that's why here we push very hard with the instruction care, how to take care of your product, and for every product we sell, we put it like very in a very nice packaging with all the information they need to know about the care, about the washing, how to restore the product. And this also is something that first customer that never pay attention to this, from this first purchase, they're now switching to this and say, okay, now it's really important. That why it's important. And then the much information they take and really realize that this, like, of course, the impact that we can do is very tangible.
So moving towards our last question, you talked a lot about your experience and how you thought it was so important to, before starting your own startup, gather as much experience as possible in other companies. So we wanted to ask you if you have any suggestions for young students or young adults that want to get into the sustainable fashion industry, and maybe drawing from your own experience with opening and setting up a startup. Do you have any suggestions for them?
I think of course here we need to divide like into let's say areas. The one they wanted, like me, that wanted to build something from scratch, and like my personal view on that is to find a really specific niche in the market, and try, of course, maybe there is already an existing product, but try to make of course, to create a better product than there is in the market, and make it sustainable with a purpose behind that. Because if you're just need to do that because I mean, sustainable is not enough. This is something that we need to clarify, and you need to try to build something more than that. So it could be an experience, could be a service, could be a price, could be whatever is the direction to do. So just try to be to build a value just focus on sustainability, but is probably 1/3 of your value proposition. And then take a product that, of course, if you need to, of course, then to raise money, just to be sure that the market opportunity is big enough. And if you want to be like, if you want to pursuing like a career in the sustainable sector, what I suggest, I mean, I don't really have an experience in this way, but what I can tell you from outside is the fact that try to work for purpose-driven startup products, because here is where innovation and sustainability comes together. I think that if you rather go to big groups, LVMH or other big brands, that they have such a big structure, such a big historical background, that they cannot switch very honestly and transparently to a sustainable model. Most of the time it's marketing, most of the time it's greenwashing or this kind of stuff. If you go in a startup that is born with this clear purpose in this specific area, of course you're gonna really learn, and you're gonna have tangible impact on what you're gonna do.
Thank you so much, Alessandro, for being here with us today and for sharing with us your experience and your knowledge. Do you have any last message that you would like to give to GEA followers and HECP students in general?
What I can say is to students is that of course a lot of topics, a lot of let's say areas have been already addressed, but sustainability is in everywhere. So it's not just in materials, it's just not just on carbon emission. Sustainability is there are 100,000 of potential way to make it better, this industry, because this fashion industry is completely like stuck like 100 years ago. So just don't focus on just on new innovative materials, but just think about everything from scratch. Just don't work with standard, let's say, approach, but try to be creative as possible also in this phase. That's my last message.
And thank you so much, Alessandro, for participating in this interview. And thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And be sure to stay tuned for new content coming up next month with a new topic. So stay tuned. See you soon and bye.
All right. Thank you very much, guys.